This cultivar is Vignoles. It has the potential to have really high sugar and really high acid. So it starts off as having excessive acidity. We measured fruit composition last week and it had 14 grams per liter acid. That's not really possible to make a dry wine out of that. It'll taste much too tart. But if we let the fruit hang a little bit longer, get some sunlight exposure, warmth on the fruit, you'll drive down malic acid and increase these nice kind of peachy, almost tropical aromas that exist in really ripe Vignoles. So the style we're shooting for on this one is a table wine, relatively high alcohol because it's going to have high enough sugar, but our main focus is developing those really kind of ripe aroma characteristics and driving down acid so that we can make a drier style wine. So all that sounds great. Just wait, let the acid go down. But when you throw in the fact that this is a really tight cluster, I'll show you what kind of perfect looking cluster looks like of Vignoles. The berries are relatively tight, but you don't see any incidents of rot. There's a little bit, that's probably bitter rot right there, but there's no real kind of sour, funky rot, no fruit flies. Most of the berries are still intact. Here's another cluster that's a little bit more sun exposed, so it's kind of breaking down some of the skin, and then you can get some of these external rots, like bitter rot, phomopsis. And what that does is it kind of breaks down the skin and then lets insects kind of go after the fruit, and that can eventually culminate in sour rot that's spread by fruit flies. So right now these don't taste too bad. There's not much sour rot, acetic acid kind of spread by fruit flies. But if we let this wait another week or two, you can see here this damage from some sort of rot, whether that's phomopsis or bitter rot. I don't really know it but it's kind of breaking open, and when the berries break open, whether it be right there or kind of a lot of the time it happens at the connection of the berry to the pedicel, right there, you'll get a little bit of tear right there, and then fruit flies can get in there and kind of spread bacterial and fungal infection, and that tends to spread to the rest of the fruit. So our objective right now is to let the fruit hang as long as possible so we can drive down acid and really accumulate some of those aromatic compounds that really make this a great wine. But it's a risk-reward kind of situation. If we get another kind of night or two of rain, the clusters stay wet like that one is soaking wet, and that water kind of goes through the cuticle into the berry, causes the berry to swell, and you can get more abscission or kind of cracking at the pedicel, where you'll start to encourage more sour rot or acetic acid. So what we're trying to just kind of keep an eye on is making sure there aren't too many clusters that look like this one, where you can see kind of fruit flies hanging out on there. This has a really kind of vinegar kind of smell to it, and the berries are easily abscising, and that will just attract fruit flies and then spread farther within this cluster, and then the fruit flies travel to other clusters and just encourage the disease to spread throughout the vineyard. So what we're doing right now is kind of waiting. Hopefully it'll dry out. We'll get some sunshine and wind to dry out the canopy. It's nice that the canopy is pretty open, and sunlight and airflow through the canopy will dry these clusters out, and hopefully they can stay intact long enough to get the acid to come down and the aroma that we want to fully develop.